Back in my home turf. Got that dance party, blue, retro, extra eyes, thermal, mirror? No, stop that. Go away. Go away. Excadriller, hello, how you doing? Bruh, what's up? Not much. Just having a cigar. I played Spyro Year of the Dragon. Nice. Good game. There's a lot of mini games in Spyro 3 though. I like the original, I think is the best one. With Year of the Dragon, they introduced all sorts of like extra stuff that didn't need to be there really. And there was also like a what was it, like a skateboard gimmick. They were trying to like capitalize on the whole skateboarding thing, you know, back in the 2000s with like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. They were like, yeah, Dragon skateboard, and it was like that mini game was worse. That was just worse, like, than just playing Spyro, you know. Introduced a bunch of characters, which was that's not bad, I guess. There was like, what was it, Alora? There was what was the cheetah guy's name? Hunter? Hunter. I think it was Hunter. Why do I know those names? Somebody tells me their name like 5 minutes ago, but I can't remember it. But for whatever reason, I remember the cheetah guy's name back in Spyro. That's wild. The characters were chill. Yeah, I agree. They were good. They were chill. I agree. Hopefully we get some people coming in and watching. I'm just bored. I'm vibing. Just vibing for the day, you know. It's a nice lazy Sunday. Can't complain. 50. Hello. Shame. Shame for what? What did I do? Is it the cigar? Is it the cigar? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just like a cigar. I remember there was a penguin or something. Yeah, there was like and he was like military, right? Like he was all about that. He was all about that, right? I think I remember that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Don't do that. Do not do that. Don't do that. Okay, I think we're good. But yeah, I remember that penguin. I don't remember his name though. I remember Hunter. I remember Alora. Spyro. I remember Ripto. That was like the bad guy, right? There was also Nasty Gnork. Nasty Nork. Gnasty. Well, if you have any questions, I'm right here. Those games are old, not gonna lie. I can't remember anything, just collecting eggs. Oh, true. That egg collecting was really tough too. As a kid, I bet you it's probably easy. Now they like we're like grown adults. It's probably easy. It's definitely easier than that one Majora's Mask minigame that I was stuck on. Oh my God, I was stuck on that for so long. That took so long. That was so much effort. And I was really zoning in on that one. Y'all saw it? That was rough. That was not a good time. I had to remember every freaking little thing about that stupid minigame. I bet you I could probably do it again, right? Now that it's fresh in my memory. So hard. God, it took forever. It's a good day, I would say. sh55 says I can't stop playing it. Which one? Spyro? Are you talking about Spyro? Which one are you talking about? Let me know what you're talking about. Answering any questions that you guys have. If you want to type it in chat, feel free. YouTube must have blocked my other chat. What was it? It's a tone memory game called Dialed. Dial.gg? Never heard of it. I think she's talking about Majora's Mask. No, she was talking about her own thing. Majora's Mask was, dude, that Octorok minigame with that. Do you have any idea how long I was on there? God. I had to have been on that minigame for about 6 hours. 6 hours. Why is grape bad? The human suffering. The harm of an individual. The society that enables lack of consent, which reduces the quality of living of everybody, considering we don't provide consent. We don't provide bodily autonomy over individuals and their own body. Why is suffering bad? It's entailed. That's axiomatic. Bulk Broman says, I'd like to address the notion of complaining about drone striking amount of a president when the reality of the matter is that technology advancing will basically always mean that the most recent president will at some point be the president that likely to have done the most drone strikes. Maybe. Why is suffering bad? You're saying that that's an assertion? I don't need to assert that. That's just axiomatic. Like gravity makes mass go together. And then if you say that's just an assertion, well, no, it's what it does. It's just what it does. So that's kind of suffering here, right? It just what it is entailed that it is bad. I don't need to. It would be axiomatic. John Danger says gravity is a concept. No, it's like a discovery. Like we're aware gravity exists without us able to examine it. Casey says, you look like an action movie hero. Thank you. Hi, honey. How you doing? I've been helping getting rid of the trolls, Casey, so it should be a more comfortable experience for you. Broman says, I would like to be complaining about the most recent president flying the most miles when in reality he's clearly most likely to have flown the most miles due to advancements in technology when it comes to air travel in general. Actually, that's not true. Donald Trump consistently goes back and forth between DC and Mar-a-Lago, which is atypical of a president to do. presidents typically would actually stay in DC. But Trump basically does that trip on a daily basis. Like, he doesn't really care. sh55 says, "Hi, Casey. I am so glad to have more positive people in chat." I love that. I do. I love that so much. Thank y'all for joining. Nice shirt. Thank you. It's my Spyro shirt. Do you like it? It's got Spyro the Dragon on it. I don't think it's because of advancements in technology. I mean, we've had planes the entire time. That's just a personal preference of Trump. He also likes to golf a lot, like all the time, actually. Amender, Eder Burback and his brother did a video on Spyro. Did you see it? Nope. Grape is axiomatically good because it causes human flourishing and it ensures repopulation. You don't actually think that, do you? Hopefully not. Are you arguing in favor of grape right now? Do you actually think that? If you think it's a checkmate by saying grape is good, I am using your logic. No, because grape causes the unnecessary... You're not considering the unnecessary suffering of an individual, as well as the overall suffering on humanity. Like, what would it look like to not abide by the autonomy of individuals? Like, do you really think that it would be like a better off society? Would suffering be less? No, it would be more. There would be more suffering. Even if you do make children, the suffering is just, it would be an infinite level of suffering. So, no, the exact opposite. I need you to answer that, though. Like, do you honestly think that, like, you ought grape? Like, really? Let's see. Suffering can result in gains. I say this as an expert in bulk. Okay. But if you had to ask yourself, what society would you rather live in? A society of more suffering or less suffering? You'd probably say the less suffering. Not here to virtue signal. Yeah, you're right. That's why you're getting hidden on. That's why you're getting removed. Go ahead and argue like grape elsewhere, bro. I'm not going to tolerate that. Leon says, John Danger, if you understand that it is immoral and illegal, not to mention the victimization that occurs of the children, then it traumatizes the generation. Yeah, we're not gonna hear the guy that is trying to justify grape. How about that? Hot take. Let's not justify grape. But it's like going to the gym. I don't think that's suffering, right? You're just like bettering yourself. Like you're just like doing the, like I guess like you could say that it's uncomfortable, but I don't know if I would refer to it as suffering. I guess it comes into like the point of like needless suffering as opposed to needful suffering. Like I'm sure you would have to suffer to some extent to like getting a college degree, but like obviously that's for like a greater gain in the future, I guess. I do not have the grape flavor, but I do have strawberry based. I like strawberries. The next morning you're sore and aching. It could be called suffering. Sure. I guess the question is like regarding needless suffering. Like for there, you're suffering for a reason. But like grape, like come on, we're not going to sit there and justify that. If the gym is suffering, go to a doctor. That might be a good point, right? Because it's like, It's just like momentary pain for gain, I guess. But hey, I go to the gym. I think the gym is great. Go to the gym. It's good for you. Good for you to go to the gym. Excadriller calling it out says, yep, grape is wild. Yeah, that's a wild thing to say is good. There's probably an amount of suffering which is tolerable, I guess. Like the gain is worth the pain. But then again, at the same time, it's like, do we force people to go to the gym? No, you decide to go to the gym. It would be a humanitarian disaster to force people to go to the gym. William Price says, what's new, a lady who couldn't feel pain? So she couldn't tell when her body was under so much duress that the heart was failing. That sucks. That's sad. No, we got to put kids into shape. LMAO. Yeah, but I don't want to force people. If people want to live an unhealthy lifestyle, they should be able to. You know, I can't make them to live a healthy lifestyle. The Presidential Physical Fitness Program would be an example of government-sponsored pain and gain. Yeah, I mean, like as long as people have the choice, I'm not against it. Just thinking on the point of removing suffering. So, I mean, I acknowledge that it's like there's an amount of suffering that's, you know, it's never going to go away. And there's probably an amount of suffering that's perfectly okay or acceptable to have, considering that there's like, a gain to be allotted there. Hey, we got Rugby, the guy that came from, what is it? What's that? Alpha Eagles channel. I remember you. How you doing, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. Excadriller says, I think we can use private schools where the standards of physical activity are raised. Bulk says, Arnold surely wasn't telling the kids that they wouldn't feel pain when they got their gains when pitching the program in the 80s. So, okay, I mean, like, I'll clarify, right? I'm referring to, like, needless suffering. I mean, the guy was sitting there just defending grape. Like, dude, what are you doing? We can't, this is not cool, dude. Like, lol, I'm surprised you remembered me. And I've been decent. Haven't watched Eagle in a video in a minute. Yeah, dude, your brain cells will thank you for that one. Sandwich Monster says, an eye for an eye, said to be barbaric, but people are fine when it comes to certain things. I don't like the idea of eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I'm of the belief that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth just makes the whole world blind and toothless. It doesn't make sense to do that. The question is, that I think is, what caused them the conditions that thought it was a rational decision to put out someone's eye, right? And if there are sociological factors that contribute to that, can we reduce it? That's kind of my position on that. Rugby says, LOL, I feel smarter from not watching him. Yep. You should. That guy is not only a racist, he's really dumb. He's really dumb. Really, really dumb. I mean, he'll sit there and review something that he hasn't watched. Could you imagine? But many do, with grape as an example. I mean, yeah, but like, again, like I have to ask, like, what society would be better? A society where grape is allowed versus society does not allow grape. I feel like the society that does not allow grape would be less needless suffering. That's not a hot take. That should just be like, we shouldn't have to discuss that. That's pretty obvious. I support the Code of Hammurabi. I would have to read the Code of Hammurabi. Raiden Jack says some people can change, others cannot. And many simply do not see your side due to cultural or ideological sense and thus do not care if you disagree with their behavior, whether they cause harm. Well, I mean, there's like a causal harm, and I'm just saying, like, hey, there are probably other factors that drive somebody to harm another person. And it's like, hey, let's plug up those things that enable somebody to be like that. Not wanting grape is the bare minimum. I agree. Rugby, I completely agree. But somebody was just arguing in here trying to challenge they were trying to challenge my ethical conduct by bringing up that grape is okay. I was like, that's not the W you think it is. He was sitting there in chat. He's like, checkmate, liberal. I used your logic against you. Grape is okay. I'm like, all right, dude. My subjective morals doth saith no. How do you not know the Code of Hammurabi? I do not claim to be the smartest guy around. I do not claim to be a guy that knows every little thing that every single person brings up. If you want to bring up, like, specifically, I don't have my tablet in front of me. I'd probably just read it out and see the code. I think there's like some axiomatic rules that exist that are pretty ubiquitous across cultures. Like, you shouldn't kill, cheat, steal, lie within your own tribe, for example. That would be an example. But even that, like, gets driven to subjective terms. Like, I'm pretty sure, like even the Spartans were okay with stealing within their own tribe as long as, like, you were doing it for, like, survival. So it's weird. It's weird how you would assume that these things are, I think that there's like a path of least resistance for survival. We as humans survive better when we are working together as human beings. And so it was pretty ubiquitous that, like, hey, we shouldn't have anybody that, they're stealing constantly or they're killing constantly, from our own tribe, right? That's not conducive to survival. And so we ubiquitously came to that conclusion. It's a pretty obvious conclusion. People just don't do those things as much. Or at least it's like from a social aspect, it's looked down upon, and it doesn't matter what culture you grew up in. Those things are looked down upon in just about any culture, with some caveats to that. Let's see. Leon says Bender is ignoring my messages, not on purpose. Let's see. Bulk Bromance says I never claimed to be a smart man. Yeah, like I said, I haven't read everything. There's a lot of stuff that I need to learn. How do you reconcile identifying as First Amender but banning people about arguing with other chatters and promoting unpopular opinions? So, Ogo, you will notice that, number one, I'm not the government. And also, I think there's like 5 different things regarding the First Amendment, which I do agree with. I don't think the government, like, even if you have a disgusting thing to say, that the government should go after you for that. So I'm still, like, affirmative with the First Amendment. But also, that dude just argued in favor of grape. Like, I'm good, dude. Peace. Like, your vibe is horrendous. We're never gonna agree. At first, I was kind of like trying to bring in those people, but I started noticing that it was just breeding like a really hostile atmosphere. And yeah, I just don't think it's good for me or good for the chat or the growth of the channel or really any of those things. Even though that it, quote unquote, could drive up engagement, I think it just makes more hateful conversations, and it's just not conducive to discussion. William passing off some hugs. Hugging back. Bulk Broman says, I can give you a pass on banning the grape commenter, but they wouldn't drop the topic. But outside of that, I have to agree with the premise of censorship is going by the name you go by. Again, like, I'm not the government, right? An individual not wanting to hear you or being on their own platform is not equivocal to that. So, yeah. So you're okay with excluding people because they have a different culture? No, it's not because of their culture. It's because of their ideas. The guy was just defending grape. I mean, do you think the state of government being involved in something like burning a state flag compared to a federal government through the use of the 10th Amendment? None of those. Like, you should have a right to burn the flag. I mean, it's disrespectful. I don't agree with it, but I don't think the government should come down on you for that. Do I believe in freedom of association? I mean, with respect to the Civil Rights Act, no. I think like there's like an amount of like respecting people's autonomy. Like, I don't think that you could, for example, ban a group of people from your restaurant because they're black. That'd be really messed up. Comparing yourself with an institution when it comes to censorship isn't a justification for censorship. Yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm just not going to deal with bullies. Like, I'm not going to do it. No bullying. Chill. Would you rather gain weight or gain eagers? I don't know what that is. I don't mean jobs. I mean general association and friendship. I mean, you can be friends or not be friends with whoever you like. William Price says, believing that the First Amendment means that you have to put up with anyone and everyone talks to you, that just seems like such a leap of logic. It is a leap of logic. You're correct. 100%, William. I'm glad that you are able to observe that. Oh, it looks like we have two Williams, so I'm going to say William Price, 1497, said that. It is a leap of logic. A lot of people is like, well, why won't you listen to me, like, harassing you? I'm like, well, you're harassing me. I'm not gonna waste even an ounce of energy on you. I explained myself. I was very clear, and he just kind of stayed on the whole grape topic. And I'm like, bro, we are not gonna have this discussion about grape. Like, go away. Like, I'm sorry. Excadriller says, I have a different argument. I think that burning the flag should not be allowed because the flag is the only thing holding us together. And if we let people do that, what's the point of America? Well, I think like being like here, me myself, I'm highly critical of the United States. With that being said, I love my country. I want my country to do better. And so being critical of the United States doesn't mean therefore like it is invalid or you shouldn't listen or you shouldn't be able to express yourself. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Bulk Broman says, I would accept your premise, but it would have to be based on an individual basis rather than generalization. Ogolero says, if I immigrated to this from another chat and was more toxic and I displayed those traits here, would you ask that I assimilate to the culture here in order to hold my place? Yeah, but also I'm not really a big fan of your dog whistling. I think I know where you're going at. It sounds to me that you're saying like that there's certain people from different cultures that if they come to the United States, they can't assimilate, which is just empirically false. People constantly change their worldview and their culture when they go to different countries. Specifically in the United States, you would assume that we would have like this giant Muslim problem, but there's Muslims all over the United States and a very tiny minority of quote unquote terrorists. And, you know, rest assured, I mean, if there's somebody that's committing a terrorist action, yeah, okay, put them in a box. But that doesn't mean that a Muslim can't perfectly assimilate into the United States. And it also doesn't say anything about, your second generation immigrant where all they know is the United States. I mean, they have their parents who didn't grow up in the United States, but there you are and you're a Muslim in the United States. I don't see any reason why that Muslim would be incapable of perfectly assimilating, right? Because all they would know is the United States. There's nothing inherent about a Muslim and like an inability to assimilate, I guess. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my phone here. It's like kind of listing to the side. And to be honest, like, if you want to solve like the birth rate problem, it's not white people having more babies. That ship has already sailed. We don't have enough workers now. Like overwhelming, like the amount of service workers that exist for people who are in retirement age, like, nursing home people, people that take care of the elderly. It's overwhelmingly immigrants. Native borns just tend to not want these kinds of jobs, and we just need immigrants. We need immigration. Like, if you want the economy to keep rolling, we need immigration. The ship for having more babies has already sailed. That sailed back in the 90s. So we need more people working here now, which would mean that we would need to bring in immigrants. See, William W4G says, I get stuck on what people do believe is normal. I believe a sense of norms, but it's not consistent. We have to be more fluid, and I know it's relative. I like that. That's good. Correct. Ogolero says, specifically to this chat, do you welcome all ideological immigrants to stay and thrive, or do you require them to assimilate to a language you thought or approve of? No, I don't agree to any of that. I think people... I know you said it for the chat, but I'll answer your question as well. I think people can assimilate just fine, and it happens so naturally. I mean, there's actually an economic incentive to assimilating, so there's no reason to not. Bulk Brockman says, you should look into the AG industry and getting exemptions from paying overtime in many unskilled labor positions. That's how they also have job fairs in Central and South America for hiring. I'm just saying we need workers now, right? The birth rate has already been low since, boy, I mean, it had to have been, I think it was at barely a replacement level, like back in the 80s and 90s. So like, we're already there. Like, we just need immigrants. Like, there's no other option. We can't go back in time. We don't have Doc Allen, to come and do that. So we need immigrants. You want the economy to keep rolling? You need immigrants. Bulk Brahman says, you don't ever hear anyone, regardless of which side of the aisle they're ever talking about that one. I don't know who you're talking about. I'm assuming the founders were fine with blasphemy laws, though. Yeah. I don't... Also, wait. Were they? The reason why I'm casting doubt into that is because they specifically wanted a separation of church and state. So I would be really impressed that a majority of the founding fathers would want blasphemy laws. I don't have my computer in front of me, so I'd have to look that up, but intuitively, based on what I know on current history, the founding fathers would not be in favor of laws that establish any religion. With that being said, I mean, even if they were in favor of it, logic would reason that society is worse off by having blasphemy laws. So we ought not have blasphemy laws because of the problem of the separation of church and state. Ogolero says, there's no reason to not assimilate. Are you suggesting people coming to this chat should change the culture that they bring from other chats. I feel like I've answered this, and you're trying to like push me into like being anti-immigration. It's not going to happen. Stop being racist. Don't be racist. Sandwich Monster says, prior to the 60s, most American fruit and vegetables were picked by citizens. Most of the like, that also doesn't entail whether or not that they're immigrants. Like, what? I mean, Ogalera, I'm just going to be honest with you. This is not my first rodeo. I know when people are doing racist dog whistles, so chill with that. Rubik says, First Amender, have you seen the Don't Be a Racist, I Am Building video? No, I have not. Send it to my Discord. I'll take a look at it. Bulk Broman says, I'm serious about the agriculture industry exemptions when it comes to not paying overtime to many unskilled labor positions. That's very sad. Workers need to be adequately paid in order to have a proper cycle of the economy. You need to have people at the bottom being able to afford basic necessities, because what that does is that it incurs an induced demand, which helps build more businesses. So it doesn't make sense to just have all the wealth kind of flowing at the top and very little going down to the working class. You need to have a cycle. The poor buys a thing, supports business, business supports the executives and hopefully invest in more businesses, make more jobs. More jobs means more people being able to make a living wage. Bobo says, you should try to reach out to the guy I just found out about called Hector Talks. He only has 3,000 subs, so only like 2K ahead of you. Yeah, I actually need to bring in, what is it? It's Rinyald. I'm gonna have a discussion with Rinyald one of these days. We're gonna have like a collab. Collab would be cool. And I think he's more knowledgeable than me about specific laws and policies that have been pushed by Donald Trump. I just kind of talk in a more general speech, whereas he's more, I guess, quantitative about it, which is very good. Renyald is too much TDS for my taste. I like him. I think he's good. I think he does a good job. Bobo says, what did I miss? I was playing 7 Days to Die. Good game, I heard. I've not played it, but I heard it's good. AI debater would be pretty much simplified summary of him. I mean, hey, you know, I think he's good. He's got more subs than me, so who am I to judge him? And I think he's pretty smart. He knows what he's talking about. And it would be good for the overall analytics, just bringing in Rinyald, having a discussion with Rinyald. I think it'd be cool. I found him recently. I thought he was very interesting. First Amendment, I have 250 hours and 7 Days to Die. Nice. I'd say your content is better entertainment quality. Ooh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I take that with that's a great compliment, I'd say. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. I try to be entertaining. I try. So he's very much the same as you. See from virtually every other atheist call-in type stream. Is he the same as me? Is Rinald the same? I think he's more analytical when it comes to, like, he's very specific about what particular laws, and I've seen him just rattle this stuff off, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that. And I'm pretty steeped in this stuff, you know. I'll sit there and read all the time, and I'm like, I didn't know that stuff Rinald would say. I'm like, wow, what the heck is that? It's pretty interesting. Flashy says, oh dang, I missed most of the stream. It's just a kind of a quick, you know, hey, I'm having a cigar stream. I don't know if I should have another whiskey. Might as well, right? I mean, we got people coming in and they want to have a conversation. Appreciate you guys joining me. It's very nice of y'all. I'm trying to work on my TikTok though. God, I get nothing on TikTok. It's so annoying. And people just come in and they swipe instantly, dude. I don't even know how to capture a TikTok audience. I mean, all of my ideas and thoughts, they take longer than a second to say. Like literally, they'll look at me and for like half a second and then swipe away, and I'm like, what what did I do? Ogolero says, I am neither a racist advocate or an advocate for racism. I find it strange that you welcome incongruent cultures, ideologies, and philosophies to your country, but you use the same criteria to exclude them from your chat. Yep, just like how I'm doing it right now. Ogolero, I told you not to do the racist dog whistle, and here you are doing more racist dog whistles. Bye-bye. Wait. I'd rather have people who aren't doing racist dog whistles. So we're not going to do racist dog whistles in here. Sorry. I asked you not to. I was very kind. And now you're still doing the racist dog whistle. So I'm not going to do it. None of that. I'll listen to your, you know, if you call in on the call-in show, we can have discussion about it and go into great depth and discussion about it. But yeah, I'm not going to have that in my chat. Let's see. Bobro, it looks like 55. They're a huge fan of Destiny. I used to watch Destiny like crazy, but he started getting into like, I guess like relationship stuff, and I just tuned out. I was like, I'm not really interested in that sort of discussion. I mean, for a lot of people, it's really interesting. I don't find it super interesting, and it was just a lot of that. And after I just kind of fell off from him. Let's see, what 2018? Can you disagree with China's government on TikTok? Doesn't China's government like not have TikTok? Like they have their own like TikTok? Excadriller says, I have a good policy, First Amender. If the person who you ban call in and has a good faith discussion, maybe you can unban him. Well, I do have a method to unban, and I think it's a good thing, right? It's you need to pay $20, and then say the name in the super chat on who you want unbanned, and I will unban them. Now, mind you, right? That doesn't mean therefore you no longer have to follow the rules. You do have to follow the rules. I'm not going to tolerate the bullying anymore. I'm not going to tolerate just being a terrible human being in chat. You need to be respectful. And racist dog whistles is definitely not in my realm of even worthy of that kind of conversation. So if they donate a $20 super chat, then I'll consider it. But yeah, sorry. They can get mad all they want, right? It has nothing to do with me gaining that money. There needs to be some level of consequence for what it is that they're doing. Lasse just says, is that hairband meant to cover your receding hairline? No, what do you mean? What's wrong? I mean, is it really that? Maybe a little bit. It's probably receding a little bit. I'm 36. Throw me a bone. I want to see how you look like at 36. I look pretty dang good for 36, don't you think? I just think the headband's kind of cool. I think it looks cool, so I like keeping it. Hell yeah. Based. Based headband. William says, wow, nice hair. Thank you. It looks receding, not going to lie. Hey, listen. You'll become 36 one day, and then what? Then what? I've seen people in their 20s just full balding. I'm not balding, thankfully. But First Amendment looks fine for 36. Thank you, X. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that very much. Laze J says, I'm 40 and bald as fuck, bro. I feel you, dude. I feel you, you know. Let nobody judge you for being bald. I mean, honestly though, like if I was really like balding, I'd probably just shave my head. I would be like, forget it. I'm shaving my head. I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna embrace it, right? Just embrace the bald. William Price says a receding hairline. It's called a '90s hairline. Thank you very much, and it's beautiful. I got a bit of a widow's peak, where it's like a lot in the center, but like on the sides, like it's very Vegeta kind of. You know what I mean? I'll probably grab another whiskey because I'm really enjoying this conversation. Actually, like when I started getting rid of the a-holes, hey, the chats are actually pretty decent. They're actually not bad. We'll start fostering a real community here instead of fighting one another and then people on the left, joining the people on the right, and then like just end up being like a really negative area to be in. Let's see. Flashy says, I'm surprised you have not cut your hair. It's getting hot outside. I'm going to grow my hair real long. Real long. I'm going to have like a ponytail and everything. I want to see how I look with like a ponytail and makeup. I'll wear full makeup and I'll just be like, yeah, deal with it. I don't even care. Ew, no ponytail, please. Well, whatever. I've worn the ponytail a couple of times in stream. No one's noticed it because it was too small. My boyfriend has a ponytail. Hey, no makeup either. No, please. No, I'll wear makeup. I'll have lipstick. I've had eyeliner on. A mullet is fine. Oh, come on. Let me have fun. Let me have fun. All right, let's get ourselves another whiskey. Appreciate you guys joining in on such short notice. 50, are you in an open relationship? Ask Base God Flashy. All right, let me grab another whiskey. All right. Whiskey time. Whiskey time. William says, hold tight to watch whiskey drinking. Hold tight to watch whiskey drinking. What? All right. Let me, gonna get myself an ice ball, I guess. All right. Whiskey on a Sunday? Yeah, I'm gonna have a whiskey on a Sunday. I'm not gonna drink that much, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let me enjoy myself. I make myself an old fashioned. I make a really good old fashioned. That's the problem. When you make really good old fashions, you want old fashions. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Ah, don't drop it. We're doing good old-fashioned Woodford. Can't go wrong with the Woodford. Bam. Woodford. This is a very good whiskey. I'm not paid by Woodford, but if Woodford is listening, please Sponsor me. I'm a great sponsor. That'd be wild, bro. Wow, that drink looks old-fashioned. That's because it is. It's an old-fashioned. It's an old-fashioned. This is simple syrup. Equal parts sugar and water. Gonna add a little bit to the top. And then we're gonna give it a good mix. Mix it up. Laz AJ says, I do not know what you mean. I only take my whiskey neat, room temp. There is nothing, there's no ring way to enjoy alcohol, so do your thing. I'm assuming, yeah, there's, exactly, I agree. What does whiskey taste like? If you can describe the taste. Wood. It tastes like wood. Wood and burning. And yeah, no, it's like a woody burning sensation. But Bobro, you should not be drinking. Don't drink. Oak, Laz AJ says oak, vanilla, and life. Yeah, it tastes like that. It tastes like a cup of LOL, give me water. Yes, it does, yeah. If you just have whiskey and you have no, like, understanding of whiskey, you're going to be like, whoa, that's too strong. I can't handle that. That's too much. We got local admin. Hey, local admin. Long time no talk. How you doing? I'm working on the chats. They're becoming more respectful. Bulk Broman says, I actually have a relative that is in the cigar industry in Florida. Bro, hook me up. I'll rep his cigar. Yes, but bro, only drink if you really want to. It's bad for you. Boro is not old enough to drink, if I'm not mistaken. He's not 21 yet, is he? I'm pretty sure Bobro is not 21. If you're not 21, you should not be drinking. No drinking. Drinking's bad for you. Excadriller, it says Bobro is 21. Are you? Okay. I know I even asked my docs on my 21st birthday. Okay, so you are 21. Well, you know, ask your parents, try it, see how you like it, you know, don't go crazy. You know, it's just like a once in a while kind of a thing. Flashy says, no, it just tastes bad, period. Only women get alcohol that tastes good. When I party with my family, all there is to drink is Modelo for me. Hey, there's nothing wrong with Modelo, but I enjoy the taste of a good alcohol. But I could see why somebody would be like, I can't. It's bad. William Price says, more of a pothead myself. Hey, legalize. Legalize. Let's do it. Legalize. You know what I mean? We gotta legalize. I've started to notice I'm becoming more and more of a hippie. We gotta bring back that hippie culture, right? Minus the really hard drugs. Less on the hard drugs, but definitely in the realm of like, yeah, you know, freedom and love and hell yeah, I like that. 55 says, Bobro, if we were neighbors, I'd be happy to take you out and make sure you drink just enough that you never want to drink again. Excadriller says, I mean, I generally don't have a problem with people drinking. Just hope that people don't get drunk and make dumb decisions they normally would not do. Oh, man. That's just part of it, bro. It's part of it. But yeah, hopefully you're not making dumb decisions that you wouldn't make if you were sober. Hopefully that's the goal anyway. That's the way to do it, bro. Let's see, 55. I only want to do it for the experience because I am the type of person that just wants to live life to the fullest. I like that. I like that. I think the same way about stuff. Like, I'll try it once, but I guess like my only instances where I would not try it is if I realize that, hey, there's a good chance that you may not be able to go back. There needs to be an exit strategy, and I feel like when it comes to like hard drugs, I don't know whether or not there's an exit strat, and so yeah, I don't want that, I guess. It's a Rubik says Craig got me drunk when he was here for a belated birthday dinner. That's so cool. I would totally drink with Fight the Flat Earth. I would love having a drink with that guy. In fact, if I ever go to Britain, I should catch up with that guy. That'd be cool. I'm sure that Rubik's could vouch for me there. Be like, hey, we got a fan that wants to meet you. His name's First Amender. He's a bit of a hippie. Peace. Peace, everybody. Let's bring back the peace, bro. Remember this? This was a thing 50 years ago. Peace. Legalize. Legalize. He finds it himself back here. You are welcome to come over. I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. Bulk Broman says the fees for application and entry into the industry alone are beyond the scope of virtually everyone that isn't already wealthy. Probably true. Peace sign, ooh, so anime. Yeah, you know, the peace sign in anime means victory. V for victory. That's why at the end of like a level of like a Super Mario world, Mario does this. Now, a lot of people, they think peace. In the West, it works okay. But for Mario, he means victory. I did it. No peace with imperialism, says Base Cop Flashy. Kind of, yeah, very much agree with you. I don't like, I mean, to be fair, right? The hippies of the time were against imperialism too. They were vehemently against the war in Vietnam. Love the lore breakdown, says William Price, 1497. Sick. Boke Romance says the upfront cost chases out virtually all hopefuls that aren't already wealthy. That is, I think that's true, but I think that's just like with businesses in general. Like if you plan on starting a business, like you really need some upfront capital before you start turning a profit. It's very difficult to run your own business. Though I heard if you do want to start your own business, starting off with a mentor is huge. It will help you tremendously in your success in business because there's people who, you know, they've been through it and they know what works and they know what does not work. And having a mentor will kind of help you navigate that. But very, very high risk. Most people are not successful when it comes to businesses. I think jobs should be in a way where it's, you know, you would be able to live off that job, whatever that job is. Let's see. Excadriller says, we're angered about what the government is doing, not what the country specifically. Yeah, I mean, I think like the government kind of is like that country, right? Because it's like if the government wasn't there, then it wouldn't be a country. Bulk Broman says, First Amender, do you think upfront costs restrict someone from opening up a liquor store or a bar to the degree virtually only those with several $1 million can open a bar or liquor store? So the biggest upfront cost is having the license to sell hard liquor. So the state sells only so many of those liquor licenses, and they've already been sold. right? There's no more, at least this is in the state of Florida. I don't know what it is elsewhere, but in the state of Florida, there's only so many liquor licenses that are available in particular areas, right? So anybody that is selling liquor, they already have this license. And so I think like the cost, like for a liquor license, just from the, from the government, it's, it's relatively low cost. But the problem is because it's already all sold, there's nowhere you could buy a liquor license outside of you purchasing a liquor license from somebody that already owns one. As a result, liquor licenses are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the upfront cost is very large if you want to sell liquor. Bogroman, Flashy says there's a barrier of entry in economics classes. Yes, correct. Excadriller says, hell, in my state, you need a permit to carry a gun. I kind of agree with that. Laze J says, depends on where you want to open a bar. In the middle of an expensive area, and the network rent will be a lot. In the small town in Alabama, rent will be near nothing. Yes, true. But again, like it's about that liquor license, getting the license. That's going to be likely, if you plan on selling liquor, that's your most expensive cost, right? It's even more expensive than the building itself. Now apply that liquor logic to the marijuana industry and add more oversight and requirements for entry. Makes sense. Appreciate you guys joining in. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, because we do debates all the time, constantly. We have a call-in show where there's a phone number and people can just call in and debate, have discussions. I'm more than happy to hear out whatever argument you have. Yeah. Would you agree with repealing parts of the Brady Bill to allow for a gun registry? I would have to read up on the Brady Bill. I don't know off the top of my head the Brady Bill, so I'd have to know, and I don't have my computer in front of me, so I can't just look it up. I must say, it's a very nice day out. Very nice day. Let's see. William Price says, MJ, marijuana in Colorado. Ooh, Abe Lincoln donating $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Saying, what is the first thing you'll do when Trump is not with us? I'm going to celebrate. I haven't thought about that. But there will come a day where Trump will be gone. I think that there would likely be a large celebration across the country of him not being around anymore, depending on the way that he passes. If somebody kills him, that would be bad. That would turn him into a martyr, and we can't have that. I don't want him to ever be a martyr. He needs to die of like a heart attack, or not Iran killing him. He needs to die of natural causes, or he needs to be voted out. Rather, he just, 2028 comes around, and then, new elections, new people. Unfortunately, Trump is not the cause of all this. That's actually true. I agree with you there. Trump is not the cause, he's the catalyst. Let's see, Rubik says around the world, bro, that would be wild. William Price 1497 says Death Note. Yeah, I mean, he needs, he can't die from an assassination. We can't do that. If he dies from an assassination, there's going to be a bunch of riots. It won't, and he'll go down in history of they wanted to silence him. They wanted to get rid of him, and they got rid of him. He'll go down similar to I don't know, Martin Luther King or something. I don't want him to go down like that. 55 says, I'm going to be sickened when people eulogize Trump, and he'll never be paid for his grapes. Very true. Very true. 55 says he'll never have paid for the classified documents or January 6th or anything. I agree. Completely agree with you. To be honest though, he's old. Really old. And his health, it's not so good. right? He could very easily die of natural causes, but he has to die of natural causes. He can't just like disappear by assassination. If he does, then he'll go down a martyr, and it's just not worth it. Just let him live. Just that's it. Like, I mean, I do not specifically have a problem, but if the founders came today and told me about their positions, I would listen to them. Ooh, like if the founding fathers came? I mean, to be honest, right, like a lot of the founding fathers would be like, why do black people have the same rights? So I don't know, I'd probably take what they have to say. Also, just to point out, the founding fathers, like a lot of them, they were like in their 20s. They were children, radical children, right? I mean, they were kids. Like they were like, I know how to run a country, and then they tried to run a country, and it surprisingly worked. They were surprisingly well educated for being children. But with that being said, they're still children, right? They're in their 20s. Like, my goodness, this is a bunch of kids, you know, and they went against the most powerful, the most powerful military ever, and they somehow were successful. I would like to thank General Howe for being absolutely terrible in Delaware. If General Howe was competent, we probably would not have the U.S. as we know it today. You can look up the Battle of Delaware with General Howe. It was so funny, like historically speaking, they said anybody, and I mean anybody, could have beat General Washington except for General Howe. And anybody, and I mean anybody, could have beaten General Howe. That's unironically like a historical interpretation of Howe versus Washington, which is wild. That's a wild thing to say. You just had like two completely incompetent generals, and that was that was a huge deciding factor to the victory of the colonies. Lashley says, I honestly do not think Trump's death will be meaningful at all. His cult will remain for decades, even if they had to adapt, because Trump himself is discredited. They already are trying to separate. I mean, it may take different form, but I think Trump's death would be a very large, people would react to that pretty heavily, no matter how he dies. Within our lifetime, we will observe the end of Trump. We will. It will come one day. I hope it's not through assassination. Never through assassination. Let's see. Bobro is asking, 55, do you have brain rot? LMAO. They will react to it, but it won't be meaningful, is my point. No, I think like, again, like I think Trump is the catalyst. But yeah, there's probably an underlying like racist mentality that does exist in the United States that's really concerning. I hope that makes sense. Sh55, Bobro says, all jokes. He does not mean it. Bobro does not mean it, Sh55. Bobro, I still value facts and authority. I'm talking with people who work with EG. They clearly are smart enough to know better, but their thinking is like broken. Completely agree. There's a lot of people, man, where they just erode away, or they eschew basic facts, or they will eschew like scientists or people that know what they're talking about in favor of, I don't know, whatever bullshit they're eating, that they're consuming, you know? Let's see. Excadriller says, yeah, I mean, I think people cared about Jimmy Carter's death. That was meaningful. But to be fair, right, Jimmy Carter, he lived a full life. He was in his 90s by the time he passed away. And everybody celebrated his death because they were like, that was a good guy. That was a legitimate good guy that got into the presidency. Now, he had a terrible foreign policy, But, obviously he needed to, people look back at him in a positive light because he genuinely meant well. He was a good guy. He really was. Jimmy Carter did not have a cult movement behind him. That's true. That's true. Right now there is a cult movement for Donald Trump. And so, yeah, that would be a big difference between Trump and Jimmy Carter. But I think if any figure like that dies, a president dies, I mean, I'm sure if George W. Bush died, it would be a big thing, right? Like, hey, George Bush is dead, or Bill Clinton, or, Obama, or any of these presidents. Bobro says, we need a new Teddy Roosevelt. 100%. 100%. We do. But yeah, Jimmy Carter, he was a good guy. As to whether or not that translated to good foreign policy, well, different case. Excadriller says, bro, I just came back. Come on, I think Jimmy Carter was good guy, but not a good president. I mean, he wasn't effective, but I think he really genuinely meant well. He was working for the American people, and I think that's really important. So with that being said, I've just finished my second drink, and I finished my whiskey. I think I'm going to call it. If you're not subscribed, please do. Please subscribe. We're going to be doing, more of these, more content with call-in shows. And I'm so glad that I'm done with that Majora's Mask minigame. Oh my God. I was on there for like 6 hours, chat. 6 hours of just those Octoroks. I'm so glad it's done. It's done. We're done. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Honestly, I'd be kind of surprised if you've been watching this and you're not subscribed. Anyway, appreciate y'all very much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.